his brother?
Brother. It's about the trunk or treat.
Yes.
I had my glasses.
He may be late. I don't know.
He had to have been here for his phone.
Yeah, we turned him in.
Hey, did you see these eyes? We come.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It is now 6 o'clock p.m. The chair will call this October the 8th, 2024 regular call board meeting to order. Madam Clerk, has the public been duly notified?
Yes, sir.
And I do confirm a quorum. The chair will ask for a motion to go into executive session for personnel matters.
Sir?
Do we have anything contractual? No, just personnel.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion, we enter executive session with personnel matters only, providing I get a second.
I second.
Motion made by Mr. Williams. Second. Second by Mr. Davis to go into executive section for personnel matters. All in favor show by the raising of the right hand. All right. That we were going in executive session. We will not be long, so I just can't tell you how long, but we won't be long. All right. Thank you. Going into that executive session. chair will ask for a motion to come out of executive session. No action taken.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
make a motion, we exit executive session, no action is taken.
Second.
Motion made by Mrs. Williams, Harrison Williams, second by Mrs. Renee Green. All in favor for come out of executive session, raising by the right hand. That would be 6-0. Dr. Harris may join us this evening, but he's right now he's caught up. Okay, so thank you. At this time, I can get this thing right here to come out of here. Okay. This time, this thing right here jumping up. Thank you, Ms. Harris. Would you knock that and try to get my back on? This time, I would like to welcome everyone to this October 8th, 2024 regular call board meeting. We do thank you for all that you do. You know, we one big family. I always call the Fairfield family, and it shows. And our children, we have some of the brightest children, not just in the state, but in the United States and in the world. Do y'all believe in them?
I do.
I doggone sure believe in them.
Yeah.
You know, and they're very talented, and we just continue to give their support. What you say? At this time, we're going to have our moment of silence and pledge of allegiance of the flag.
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance and the moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
may be seated.
Last minute.
Thank you. All right. All right. Okay. At this time, can we get a motion for the approval of the agenda as presented?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
I second.
Motion made by Ms. Harrison Williams to approve the agenda as presented, second by Mr. Davis. All in favor show by raising of the right hand. That would be 6-0. At this time, do we have any public comment, Mr. C?
No, sir.
Okay. This time, thank you. At this time, we have recognition and presentation.
Yes.
Dr. Avery.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Chairman Miller, members of the board, Dr. Hemingway. Fairfield County School District is proud to recognize the academic achievements of our Fairfield scholars on their stellar performance on the state level assessments administered during the 2023-2024 academic year. These students scored exemplary in ELA and mathematics on the SC Ready assessment. Tonight, we will recognize scholars from Giger Elementary and Fairfield Magnet School for math and science. First, I would like for Mr. Gregory Scott, principal of Giger Elementary, to come forward, along with Ms. Charnel Hemphill, Assistant Principal, and Dr. Roberta Hayward, former Principal of Giger Elementary, to come forward along with Dr. Hemingway. Tonight, we would like to recognize first Naomi Acosta Ramirez,
Hey, baby.
Carson Adams, Skylar Anderson, Jason Bulware, Nolan Branham, Nathan Good, Derek Green, Arrington Hayward, Mariah McLeod, Eric Olize, Hannah Thomas, Nasiah Qualls, Asa Lynn Sampson, let's give our Giger scholars a round of applause.
All right.
Thank you, Jalen. We will now recognize Fairfield Magnet School for Math and Science. And Dr. Whitfield will come forward to not only recognize her scholars, but also recognize her teachers as well. And she's accompanied by Dr. Sarah Tucker.
Good evening, Board Chair, Board members, and Dr. Hemingway. It gives me great pleasure as the proud principal of Fairfield Magnet School for Math and Science to recognize the outstanding teachers as well as the fantastic scholars that scored well on the state assessment for Fairfield Magnet School for Math and Science. The ones I'm going to recognize first are the students that either had a perfect score or the highest possible score they could have made. Young people, when I call your name, just come towards the front to Dr. Tucker, and Dr. Hemingway will take a picture with you all. Well deserving to get a picture with someone famous. So, student who made the perfect score in math and the highest attainable score in ELA is Chance Robinson. This young lady made the highest attainable score in ELA, Paris Davis. And the young man who made the perfect score, in math, he was a 5th grader at the time and now a 6th grader, is Zayden Gadsden.
All right, Jaden. Shoot it up. Yeah. Good job, Zayden.
Thank you, young people. You may have a seat. Did you? Okay, I'm sorry. Stay. I'm ahead of the game. He's gonna get a picture. And now I want to recognize those of you that are familiar with the Army, my soldiers who are the boots on the ground that make sure the work get done in the classroom, and the children are the ones that show what they know when it comes time for the state test. So when I call your name, teachers, will you please come forward? 3rd grade teacher, her goal was 65%. In ELA, she had 70% of her students to score met or exceed. That is Jordan Brooks. This young man goal was 65%. He taught 3rd grade math. 65% was his goal. He made 74% of his children scored met or exceed in math. Mr. Swan. This outstanding teacher, her goal was 80% in ELA. Her students scored 84% in Met and Exceed, and that's Corrine Johnson-Hines. And the competitor of the group, a 5th grade teacher, her students were supposed to, she had 90% was her goal. She had 95% of her students to score Met and Exceed in ELA. Her goal was 70% in math, and she had 71% of her children to score Met and Exceed, and that is Natalie Calvin.
All right, Natalie.
Last but certainly not least, this teacher's goal was 75%. She had 76% of her students to score met and exceed in math, and she was a 6th grade teacher. That is Vivine Bennett Brown. And now I would like to recognize my scholars for their outstanding job on the state test. Each of these students that I am going to recognize tonight, they had exceed in math and in ELA. Skylar Boyd. James Reed. Jackson Rodriguez. Jordan Warren. Donald Wilson III. Chance Burns. We also had Kathleen Donnelly. I don't think I saw her come in. Catherine Donnelly. Matthias Chrisley. I don't remember seeing him, but he also had those scores as well. Sandy L. Byomi. Aaliyah Gadsden. Mary Mae Pennington. Chance Robinson. Thomas Summers. Orlando Williams. Kai Brown. Paris Davis. Zayden Gadsden. Aliana Smith. Kevion Sutton. Brianna Watkins. The next group of youngins, they are now middle schoolers. So they, some of them are in sports and they couldn't make it tonight, but I am going to announce their names. Savia Belton. Taylor Brown. Mackenzie Bryant. Jace Cooper. Brielle Cook. Amaya Cole. Ahmed El Byomi. Matthew Evans. Layla McMillan. Tyreek Mills. Kaylee Summers. Lanaya Williams. And my Anna Young, who is absent tonight as well. Let me say a big thank you to my parents. Thank you so much for entrusting us with the best that you have. We really do appreciate you.
Before we take that picture, let's kind of, the ones that's shorter, let's put them in front, and then the ones medium, and then the taller ones get in the back. So we want everyone to be seen. Yeah. So can we work that out? We got them? Small, medium, and large, right?
Kristen, I want you to charge it to Dr. Whitfield's head and not her heart. Come on up, baby. Y'all give a big round of applause for Kristen McCullough.
They want you to get in the picture. Go ahead and get on the other side. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, outstanding. Then I tell you, we got some of the smartest children, students in the whole United States. And we are so proud of them. We're still on recognition? Okay.
Let's see here. I think that's it. Is that it? That's all.
Is that it? Okay, we'll give you time to get out. We know y'all want to. We know y'all come for the children. Great job. Hey, classmate. Good job. Great job. Yeah. Again, great job. Great job. That's to our students and our teachers, everybody. Okay. Might want to close that door. What happened to everybody? Thank you. Again, great job. This time we're going to move to our board minutes, September the 17th, 2024, regular call board meeting. Can we get a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion, we approve the September 17th, regular call board minutes.
I second.
Motion made by Ms. Harrison Williams, second by Pastor Jackson to accept the board minutes from the September the 17th, 2024 regular call board meeting. All in favor show by the raising of the right hand. That would be 6-0. At this time, we're going to have our superintendent report. Dr. Hemingway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'm happy to celebrate with our students tonight who did an incredible job performing on the SC Ready test, the end-of-year test for students, to demonstrate all of the things that they learned throughout the year. So it's always great when we can celebrate our scholars. So we're very proud of them tonight. And again, parents and teachers, we're also proud of you as well for the work that you did, encouraging these students so that they could achieve. I want to share just some information. Recently, we had some school closings, and those school closings were due to the weather that we experienced. And I kind of want to talk about what goes into that decision when we are closing schools and then when we are making a decision to reopen school. So one of the first things that happens is we consult with our local media and meteorologists to learn about what's happening with the storm, what are the conditions for the district, how that's going to impact travel for buses, and making sure that we're always keeping students safe. Our transportation department, they will make sure they go out and make sure that roads are clear whenever we're trying to decide when to return. But when we're making that decision to close school, we have to make sure that the wind gusts are not steady at 35 miles per hour or more. And if that is the case, if we know that that will be the case, then we're going to make that decision to close school. This storm was very unpredictable, and there were many effects that occurred after the storm. We had power outages. There were several families who were without water. We also had some of our schools that were out of power and water. And so we made that decision that we would close school at that time. And when it came back for us to make that decision, again, we always consult with the meteorologist to see what are the potential, what's the potential impact on our district. And we had lots of families that were without power and water, but during that time, we made sure we fed families at one of our local schools. We had students come in, and we had great participation with our students and some of the families coming to receive a meal. We also partner with our local agencies to offer showers for the community, and that was a kind gesture on the district to make sure that we're supporting our community during this time. But when we made that decision to reopen school, one of the things we considered was how was all of our schools ready to receive children. And at that time, all of our schools had power and water. We checked to make sure that our staff was capable of coming back so that we would have a safe and rich environment for students to learn. And once we checked all those boxes, we made sure that transportation went out, surveyed the roads, make sure that those roads were clear from debris. We had to reroute some of our buses thanks to our transportation department and their insight for going out and looking at those routes. And at the time we decided we would bring students back to school, in our community we had about 4% of families that were out of power. And we understand that some of our families experienced some challenges and were not able to return, but we wanted to and made sure we communicated that there was no penalty for those students. Parents could have written a note and had the students excused. And when we opened schools, we had 88% of our students to return, and that's awesome that our families were able to come back where there was power, where there was water, and where we could provide hot meals and an educational environment for students to learn and thrive. And so we appreciate, all of those who had consideration and concern for us as we were out of school and for that return. And so when we try to communicate with parents, we will make sure we post something on social media and we will send something through Parent Square. And so anytime there are those opportunities where parents are experiencing hardships or they have questions or concerns, we invite you to reach out to the district office to contact the principals or contact me with any questions. We're not always on social media to read comments and to understand what concerns or challenges that you're having. So sometimes those comments and concerns they don't go addressed. And we want to make sure if you're having challenges and if you're having concerns that we are indeed addressing those needs. And so the best way to do that is to contact me directly or contact our school principals, because that's where you can get accurate and current information for what's going to benefit our students.
Thank you. Got anything else?
That's all I have. Well, I want to share too that October 14th through 18th, that is intercession, and so schools will be closed for students, and so we hope students are safe. And again, I just want to re-emphasize that any decision that we make, we're putting students first. And we want to make sure that students are safe, and we want to make sure students are learning. And so in any and all decisions that we make, we will keep those two things at the forefront.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor.
Mr. Chair, and you might, I don't know if y'all gonna announce it later, but we do have a student going to the Shrine Bowl. We haven't had one in 11 years, Tyrell, and I'm so proud of him. So make sure you can support it December the 21st at 2 o'clock, and it'll be at, I think, Spartanburg High School. So if anybody can go support him, I'm planning on going, and I hope many can go.
We will definitely take that.
Shrine Bowl. Yeah.
This time, Finance Department.
Good evening, Chairman Miller, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Hemingway. Under Finance, there are two items this evening. The first item is an action item, a budget transfer request, and the superintendent recommends approval of a budget transfer in the amount of $40,000 to pay for future board, professional, and technical services.
Can we get a motion?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion, we accept the superintendent recommendation to approve a budget transfer in the amount of $40,000 to pay for the future board, professional and technical services.
Chair, second.
Motion made by Ms. Harrison Williams, second by Pastor Jackson, accept the superintendent recommendation to approve of the budget transfer amount of $40,000 to pay for future board, professional, and technical service. All in favor, show by the raising of the right hand. That would be 6-0.
Okay. And the second item under Finance is the monthly finance report for the month of September. You have the report for your information and review. Once again, everything looks normal for this time of year. We haven't received, the majority of our revenues won't receive that until January, which we'll report in February, but everything looks to be in order. I will also just make mention that we passed our ESSER deadline, so all of those funds have been spent. So
All of it?
Yes.
all of it.
That's great.
So we're done.
Awesome.
Send nothing back.
Anything else?
Anybody have any questions for
Yes, it was good.
Mr. Robinson? Thank you, Mr. Robinson.
Thanks.
This time, we have Operations and Student Services, Dr. Campbell.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Chairman Miller, members of the board, and Dr. Hemingway. I have several items for you tonight, and we will begin with second read policies from last month. And those are a cluster group of instructional policies as way of reminder. These policies that we are asking for approval for second read are primarily we're adjusting them because of changes to state regulation and things that have happened at the State Department and within the state board. As we go through policy revision, just by way of note, our policies will either come from the model policies from the South Carolina School Board Association, and or we will have them reviewed by our attorney, and they will make suggestions that we will then present to the board as a body for approval. So the policies tonight for second read are instructional resources and materials, and the recommendation is the superintendent recommends that the board approve for second and final reading for board policy IJ, instructional resources and materials, policy IJK, supplementary material selection and adoption, policy IJL, library and instructional material selection and adoption, policy KEC, concerns and complaints about instructional resources, and the accompanying rule and exhibit for policy KEC.
Can we get a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion we accept the superintendent recommendation to approve the second and final reading of board policy IJ, instructional resources and materials, policy IJK, supplementary materials, selection and adoptions, policy IJL, library instructional materials, selections and adoptions, policy KEC, concerns and complaints about instructional resources, KEC rule and exhibit.
Can we get a second?
Second it.
Motion made by Ms. Harrison Williams, and second by Ms. Green. Want to call a question? Anybody have any questions? I just got one question.
Yes, sir.
And I want to need some clarity. You were saying that these policy be sent down to the State Department, or not State Department, but yeah, I guess it would be the State Department, the board, School Board Association, where their attorney looks at these?
So one or two things happen. We pull them from the South Carolina School Board Association. Every year they give us a set of model policies. And so when there's state regulation that comes with changes that we need to make, typically it comes with an example in a model policy.
Okay.
So that will happen, or we will have policies that we realize as a district need to be updated, no legislation change necessarily. We will typically send those to our attorney, who will advise us on the changes that we need to make sure we're covered as a board and as a district, and then we present them that way.
So some of these policies are pretty old, right?
Yes, sir.
I get it. Motion made and second. Motion made by Ms. Harrison Williams, second by Mrs. Green. The superintendent recommends the board approve the second final reading of the board policy IJ, instructional resources and materials, policy IJK, supplementary materials selection and adoptions, policy I think that's IL, library and instructional materials selection and adoptions, and policy KEC, concerns and complaints about instructional resources, KEC rule and exhibit. All in favor show by the raising of the right hand. Thank you. And we go to your second.
The next set you have, it's 3 different sets. So the first one is policy GCLE, unencumbered time. Recently, this was adopted recently by the board, but there has been a recent change to include, I think the language is understood to include all certified teachers, but it specifically asks us to spell out it includes our K-4 teachers, as well as it includes our nurses. Thank you. So those are the changes that we're making to that policy, that we want to be approved for that policy, to include those 2 work groups, although as a district we've always included them, but we wanted it spelled out in our policy. Policy JICJ is a policy that we are bringing forth to revise based on state law, and with the cell phone policy for state law. And so although our schools have done an amazing job of ensuring that our cell phones that students have do not impede instruction,
the policy, the state law now says that they cannot have them out or visible from bell to bell. And so it is very important that our listening parents and community hear and understand that when our administrators call about this, this is being driven by state legislation, which if we don't follow, our funds could be taken away. So please support us. I know as they have always done in helping the students to understand from bell to bell, we should know they have a cell phone. So that is the policy that we are asking you to approve for first read tonight. The second set in a group is policy JKD, JKDR, which is the administrative rule, JKE, and JKER. These deal with suspension and expulsion of students. So in August, you have for first read our code of conduct. And so these are some of those, what I would like to call trickle-down policies, that when we approve the code of conduct, we have to go back and refine some of our other policies. So the suspension policy and the expulsion policy are just being refined to address our recently adopted code of conduct, as well as some changes in legislation and the rights that we have to make sure we're spelling out for our students as it comes to them being expelled and or suspended and or recommended for expulsion. And as a result of those changes that if you approve in those policies, we need to eliminate policy JDE, which was a separate policy that just discussed expulsion. So I guess the terms and the things that were in that separate policy have now been added to the revisions in the group that I just discussed. So the recommendation, the superintendent recommends that the board approve first reading revisions of policy GCLE, unencumbered time, policy JICJ, use of personal electronic devices in school, policy JKD, suspension of students, JKDR, suspension of students administrative rule, policy JKE, expulsion of students, policy JKER, expulsion of student administrative rule. That is the first motion.
Can you get a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion we accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve first reading revision to policy JCLE, unencumbered time, policy JICJ, use of personal electronic devices in school, policy JKD, suspension of students, JKDR, suspension of students administrative rule, policy JKE, expulsion of students, JKER, expulsion of student administrative rule.
Can you get a second?
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Harrison Williams, second by Pastor Jackson. Do we have any questions on that?
Yes. That too.
So, with the electronic devices not used in school, is there something being sent out to the parents to make sure they understand that we're not using devices in school? Because I know a lot of times things happen in school and the parents know before anybody else because the kid got their devices. So I'm glad of that policy.
Yes, ma'am.
So one of the things at the middle school, they've already implemented that policy. They started it at the beginning of this year. The high school will be on board to start it in January. And so in talking with Dr. Swilly, the students are communicating that by creating infomercials that they'll share with families and other students about, you know, the effects of having a cell phone, how it can impact our funding, but just making them aware that that is the case. And Dr. Dixon is here. Can you talk a little bit just about any issues you've experienced with not having access to cell phones since August?
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Hemingway. So this year has been a brand new year for Fairfield Middle School with our cell phone policy. We have had 100% parental support. I'm very proud to say that our discipline is down over 80% for this school year. So we've really been able to focus on high quality teaching and learning. Hats off to you and thank you in advance for passing this policy.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
They don't have them, they have to keep them in their book bags.
So at the middle school, we have purchased the Yonder pouches.
Yes.
And so the students do have access to so the phones are with the students. And so we're not taking responsibility for anybody's cell phone. So when they come in first thing in the morning, they grab their breakfast and they report directly to homeroom. Before they start eating, they lock their phones in their Yonder pouches, and that phone just travels with them all day. They just don't have access to it until their mode of transportation in the evening is called.
Yes, we did have those pouches years ago.
And
Yes.
so we've always used them. In the past, it was students were not allowed to use it during the instructional period, and so they could unlock the pouch as they traveled from class to
Yes.
class, and they could even have access to it at lunch. However, now once they enter, it stays locked until the very end of the school day. Yes,
Is-
ma'am.
Is that going to also be at the high school, the same situation, as in they'll put them in the morning? Because at the high school, it was block to block.
And so I don't want to answer that
Starting in
question.
January,
Yeah.
yes, in
And
January.
yeah. Because at the middle school, we actually have 2 homeroom periods. And so I'm pretty sure it will look a little different for Dr. Swilly in the high school, as those students
Okay.
only have those 4
But that'll be
blocks.
January.
Yes.
Okay.
Give me some clarity
Yeah,
on that.
starting in January, they'll follow. That's the way that the policy reads, is that it's the entire school day from bell to bell. So once they enter school, the phones will go in the pouches, or they will have to put them away, and they will not have access to them until the end of the day.
Okay. Okay.
We just started a little early at the middle school, and it's going well.
Good for you. Thank you.
Dr. Hemingway, after January, once it starts, can we kind of get an update on
Absolutely.
how they're doing at the high school? Because they got it at the middle school. Want to see at the high school?
Okay.
Follow directions.
So one of the things that Dr. Swilly has been working on, they are coming up with different types of intramurals that they can do during the lunch period, during the lunch block. I think they have some karaoke and some board games and some spades
Okay.
that they'll kind of start implementing during that time when they would usually be on the phone. So we're excited to see how that works.
Yes.
I do have a point of clarification. You said that it's locked when they go to breakfast. They put ice and they're not able to unlock it till the end of the day. Now, they have the key, or it's situated in such a way that it unlocks or locks itself.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I should have brought a device with you. So each classroom teacher has an unlocking mechanism, and so it's just magnetized. And so at the end of the day, they just hit the pouch on the unlocking mechanism, and it unlocks the pouch that way. So it doesn't require any keys.
All right.
Yes.
So each student at the high school will be going to their homeroom teacher, and so
No, sir.
how
That's
does
no,
work?
sir.
I
No,
wanna-
no. I didn't say that.
No, I'm asking. No, I'm asking.
At the middle school.
You at the middle school. but
Yes,
what
sir.
I'm saying, for the high school.
Now, I can almost for certain say that I don't think that that's how that's going to work at the high school, because they do not, that's just not built into the high school schedule. And so to maintain that seat time, I believe the way that the policy says is that I know Dr. Swilly is going to strongly encourage students to use the Yonder pouch, but as long as the phones are away and not visible during the instructional time, then we are in compliance with what the state is asking. But we're just choosing at the middle school, because we have those homeroom periods, just to make it a little easier for all.
I need that clarity. I got you.
Yes, sir.
I'll ask that question.
I would think it would be easy to use the pouch, because even though the kids may have their phones away and out, they can go to them and turn them on, and teachers probably don't even know they got them.
And I will add that it says personal electronic devices, which also includes watches. So students cannot be on their watch, talking or texting on their watch.
Okay.
We don't want to lose no money.
No, ma'am.
No, we don't want to lose the money.
Not over
We,
device.
we just don't want this to be part of, they got to follow, and as you say, we got to give them something else to do. because we don't want it, you know, to be having to write them up, you know, and they could be doing something, you know, learning, you know, it could be learning. So at this time, motion was made by Ms. Harrison Williams, second by Pastor Jackson. First reading, motion one, superintendent recommends the board approve the first reading of the revision of policy GCLE, incumbent time, policy JIC, use of personal electronic devices in school, policy JKD, subvision of student KDRs, suspension of students and administrative rules, policy JKE, expulsion of students, JKER, expulsion of students administration rule. Yeah, I think that's all. All in favor show the first reading, show the raising of the right hand, excuse me. That would be 6-0, okay? All right.
And
Got one more, right?
Yes, sir. And the second one is the superintendent recommends the board rescinds policy JDE, expulsion, and the exhibit and rule to accompany that policy.
Okay.
Sir Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that the board, accepts the superintendent's recommendation, for the rescinding policy of JDE, expulsion, JKE, JKER.
Second by motion made by Ms. Renee Green, second by Mr. Davis. Any questions on this before we go further? Motion made, superintendent recommends the board rescind policy JDE, expulsion JKE/JKER. All in favor show raising of the right hand. That would be 6-0. Thank you. We got one more, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
And so the last thing I have for you today is a grantment of the easement to the Fairfield Joint Water and Sewer System. Just for the viewing public to know, what the easement is that is the right-of-way to cross someone else's property. So this is a great thing for our community because what they're trying to do is extend water and sewer lines to the industrial park. And so they're just asking permission to cross over in front of the middle school, come across the middle school, high school, and then cross back across the street. So it's a very small parcel of land that they are requesting the easement right away. So the recommendation is the superintendent recommends the board agrees to grant the Fairfield Joint Water Sewer System and Fairfield County the easement right away under the terms which outlined in their agreement.
And Dr. Campbell, can you talk a little bit about just the contract and the time frame and the
Sure.
time a little bit, please?
So in the agreement, we had it written in the agreement that they will not disturb the flow of traffic for school. So we've asked them to do this over the weekend, during intercession, or during some break. So our faculty, staff, parents, and community, they are not disturbed in dropping kids off. We also put in the agreement that they must return it back to the way it was. So we don't want them to cut this big hole in the driveway and then we have issues with that. So they have to return it back to the way they found it, or better. We want better.
Okay. So that's part of it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can we get a motion, please?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I'll make a motion that we accept the superintendent recommendation. The board agrees to grant the Fairfield Joint Water Sewer System in Fairfield County the easement right of way under the terms outlined in the agreement.
I second.
Motion made by Ms. Harrison Williams, second by Mr. Davis, superintendent, recommend the board to grant the Fairfield Joint Water Sewer System in Fairfield County easement rights of way under the terms outlined in the agreement. All in favor show by the raising of the right hand. Thank you, that would be.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. Human resources, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board.
Good evening.
Under HR this evening, we have the following item for your approval: certified resignations, terminations, recommended action. The superintendent recommend the board approve the professional certified educator resignation terminations as presented in Exhibit 1.
Can we get a motion?
So Chair, I make a motion that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for the board to approve the professional certification educator resignation and termination as in Exhibit 1.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Green, second by Pastor Jackson, accept the superintendent recommends the board approve the professional certified educator resignation and termination, Exhibit 1. All in favor show by the raising of the right hand. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we're down to, I think, board chair report. I just wanted to have a few things that I just wanted to talk about a little bit. And I tell you that, first I would like to just thank our first responders. You know, they did an outstanding job.
Yeah, they did.
Dedicated, keeping us safe during this time. We have to give our sheriff department, our coroner department, firefighters department of transportation, cleaning these roads. I was out there on Friday, and it was transformer busing. And I'm talking about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I didn't eat Stouffer, and I was just as scared. And I said, "You were the biggest fool." You know, I was horrified. But I had to take somebody to what we call to the kidney place. And so these two ladies, they had to get there. And I took it upon myself, it's part of my job, you know, dialysis, that's what I mean. And so we got them there. But we shut it down right after that. You know, I got them there and I stayed there. It took me 2 hours to get back home. Trees everywhere. But anyway, I'm just saying that we thank for them cleaning the roads, Fairfield Electric, Dominion Energy, Town of Winsboro, Water Department, Mid-Carolina, Water of Jenkinsville, all these folks that did an outstanding job. Also, we want to thank Senator Mike Fanning, House Representative Annie McDaniel, and of course, we want to thank our superintendent, Dr. Hemingway, for opening up our schools. You know, Dr. Hemingway just didn't tell you, we fed 50 families. It was, you know, and they didn't, you know, folks didn't understand Dr. Hemingway was all about the children, and we fed their adults also, you know, a hot meal, because their lights was out. And so I thank you, Dr. Hemingway, and also, you know, for opening up the schools for the family and give them a hot meal. And we'd like to thank the Board of Trustees, Mrs. Sylvia Williams, Mr. Joe Siebels, Mr. Darrell Davis, Ms. Renee Green, Dr. Harris, and Pastor Jackson for helping. See, sometimes people don't always see what they do. You know, they were out there feeding people, you know, getting them hot meals, having grills. They did an outstanding job, and I just want the folks to know what their school representatives were doing during these crucial times. Also, I'd like to thank Dr. Hemingway, and we'd like to thank our food service department. You know, they were out doing a great job, as well as our maintenance department, transportation department. We thank, and that's why we call this our Fairfield family.
That's right.
We're a family, and families stick together. You know what I'm saying? And so I just like to thank County Council, Town of Winsboro, everybody that you know, just brought everything together. And anybody else have anything, Ms. Harrison?
I just want to thank everybody. This was definitely a trying time. And even though
That's right.
A lot of people lost their lives
Mm-hmm.
during the storm, but we also have another one that's coming. And I have family and friends in Florida. I have family over there in Tampa right now. I don't know why they went, but I pray that they are safe and they get somewhere safe. But I'm just praying for everybody that's in this path because this storm is
It's coming.
bigger.
Yes,
and
it's coming.
Category 5.
Yeah.
So it's gonna do some damage, and just praying that people don't lose their lives. I mean, material things you can replace, and I understand people was frustrated, but I'm just thankful that we didn't have no fatalities here. People were frustrated because of the lights, and not. I get it, but you just have to be thankful.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thankful.
No question about it. Anybody, Seagulls? Pastor Jackson, anybody else? Got him? Mr. Davis, you have anything?
Yes, sir, Chairman Miller. I like to say, I'm thankful also that, no one was hurt. We was able to come through this. Ms. C was tell you that as we was preparing to cook for an event, I went in this store. Matter of fact, they lost everything due to the power and everything. So when I went to another store, just to see everything empty, we have to realize that's just one day. Think about the people
Yes.
that's suffered 4 and 5 days. So with that being said, oftentimes we complain about the little thing when there's other people that's out there having more issues than what we have. So let's just be thankful for what we have.
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody coming together, working together, supporting this county. It was much needed. It's just sad, the people that lost things. One thing I like to talk about though is, we try to give exposure to our kids and stuff in school. So today I had an opportunity with my corporate. He's the corporate director of recruiting, and we had an opportunity where we came to the school system, and we talked to Dr. Pilot as well as Dr. Sweely, and they were very impressed with the things that we have, the programs and all that. And what we're trying to do is partner with the school system where we can start doing tours for the children that want to go straight into the workforce, versus college, because college is not for everybody.
That's right.
So that's something that we put in place. They gave kudos to the school district. They were so happy about everything we have. This weekend, if we're able to, we'll be cooking for senior night, and we're inviting the board to come out. Y'all welcome to come.
When is
We're gonna get
that?
something to eat. This coming Friday, be senior night. Saturday, we'll be cooking for the teacher village as an appreciation and welcome to the community. So the board and everyone's welcome to come out to that as well, if you're able to make it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Ms. Green?
Yes, I agree with everyone else. I'm thankful I was inconvenienced in regards to electricity being gone for a couple days. But it helps you to realize, one, our neighborhood, we are family. I had seen a number of people helping each other that you never would have thought of helping. Miss Harrison Williams, she allowed me to participate with the program she did with the hot dogs, and I had actually thought that the majority of everybody had their electricity, but there was one guy that came up, and he helped a family. Well, we helped that family that still are without electricity. There's still people without electricity. We thought the 1 or 2 days were bad. There's people that had to throw everything away, and we still don't have our FEMA. So, we just have to pray for everybody. We have to continue to lift each other up and just be supportive. That's all. Thank you.
And saying that, when y'all were talking, and I just reminiscing, and I think about the folks up there at Asheville.
Oh, yeah.
that we think we had it bad. Okay, houses falling off the mountains, and when you think you got it bad, somebody have it worse. And so thank God that we stuck together. And I did send some things up to the upper state also, not only in our community, but we sent some up to Greenville and our neighbors up in Spartanburg, and some water and whatever. We just tried to help out. And so, in saying that, can we get a motion to adjourn?
Don't forget, we got band alumni Friday night too. I'm not with them Griffins, I'm with Winsboro Howes and Major. See us in action.
Oh, goodness. All right now. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion we adjourn.
I say.
Motion made by Ms. Harrison Williams, second by Mr. Davis to adjourn. All in favor, show ready in the right hand. Meeting is adjourned. Thank y'all so much. Thank you, Doc.
Yes, sir, thank you. I got that. Let me get that.
I ain't wearing a Major uniform.
I know Mr. C was